Global Run.
Let's go, baby.
Day.
Is it?
What is up?
It's Global Running Day? Is it Global Running Day?
Yeah. It really is. And you know what? I'm a total failure. I didn't even run today on Global Running Day.
I didn't run. I went and lifted. I used today. It's a gym day. That's hilarious. All right. Well, hey, big breaking news in case for the folks that's not watching on YouTube, we have a guest. We have a guest appearance with us this afternoon, this evening, this morning, whenever the heck you're listening to this. So we got big Chazzy Adams on the episode with us this week.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
incredible.
Welcome.
First time, because I had to be here.
First time.
First time listener, first time guest.
Yeah.
It's one of our first time guest for us.
Yeah. First all the way around, but yeah, one of our oldest, longest, dearest friends, and the a-hole doesn't even bother to listen to the podcast.
I'm such an asshole. I'm sorry.
What are we doing over here? What are we doing? But we have Chaz on because, as we talked about last week, this week or this previous weekend was the running of World's End, and old Chaz went out there and laid it down at World's End. Just absolutely tore that course up.
Whoa!
Ran it in 13:01.
Whoa! What's happening? Is that guy on next? When's that guy getting here?
That guy sounds cool.
That guy sounds awesome.
We're gonna go over the results of World's End. We'll go over the results of other races, but because Chaz is obviously very, very familiar with the World's End, it's the second time he's ran it, second time he's completed it. We wanted to have him on here a little bit. Also, Mohican was this weekend. He has ran it. He is familiar with that. All three of us have ran that race. All three of us are familiar with it, but we want to have him on for that because this year at Mo,
what happened?
So confused.
So many questions. And then we have Old Dominion was this previous weekend. What a badass week.
Damn Yeti.
That is my white whale. So I will be peanut butter jelly of looking at the winning time of that thing. It just absolutely bends my mind, makes my mind hurt. Dude, what a freak. Anyways.
All right, we will get into all that. I just want to quickly start just to let everybody know the final results of the May podcast download competition.
Here we go.
So in a surprise move, California pulled out the lead at the end with 47 downloads. Ohio 43. Oregon 42. That's the podium. Now, before you get too disappointed, I have to recuse myself because some of those California downloads were myself.
Barney's just repeatedly downloading episodes over and over and over.
Well, I download them when we do them and just to listen. But so in all actuality, if you take away my downloads, I don't know if this is a political election thing where if you're running, you can vote for yourself or not.
I mean, it is kind of funny because I clearly have not voted for myself because I did not download any of the episodes.
I'm a really shitty friend.
So what we're going to say is that there's really no clear winner. It's going to have to go to the courts. So
yeah.
But we did have 338 downloads in the month of May, which crushes our April record of 155. So thank you to everybody out there who is listening and downloading the podcast. We appreciate you. And that's it. So, all right, let's dive into.
Let's talk about the
race results, and we're going to start right off the bat with World's End. And let's see here.
World's End. While he pulls that up, Chaz. World's End. How many folks ran that this year?
It's somewhere around 175 for the 100K. I didn't get an exact number. But I think it's about 175 to 200.
Okay.
It sells out in seconds, literally.
Yeah.
It's one of those, if you're not ready to click, submit your host on this one. And well, it's a qualifier, and as you guys know, it's part of the PA Triple Crown, which is why I got stuck doing it again.
Yeah.
And from what I heard, more times than I could handle, how many times people have ran this race. It's a local legend favorite race in Pennsylvania. So yeah, man, it's a big deal. It's a big deal out there. But yeah, I think 175 for the 100K, maybe a couple hundred for the 50K. I don't know the answer to that.
What are the stats? What are the stats on that race? Like how much climbing?
So climbing, you get about 12.6 on climbing, somewhere between 12.3 and 12.6 on the 100K, same descent. And finisher rates usually around above 50, 55, somewhere in there. Takes a beating out there, man.
And it's mostly technical, right? Except for the last 5 miles.
They give you a little 5 mile kiss at the end when you're worthless. And they're like, here you go, idiot. Enjoy trying to run downhill like a nice buttery Jeep road for 5 miles when your legs are smoked and it's just taunting. And then of course at the last half mile, it's like literally you fall off a cliff back into the finish line, man. It's
a giant loop, right?
It is a loop. Yeah, it's one big loop. Yeah, it's beautiful. I can't say enough about the course and the race itself. It's absolutely a must do if you're dumb.
So 50K, 100K start at the same time?
No, 2 hours later for the 50K, which is awesome.
Nice.
They actually, so we go off at 5 a.m. 50Kers went off at 7, and they turn around at like our mile 18 aid station and then go back. They have like a loop. I don't know exact route for them. The bummer part for the 50Kers is we have a spot called High Knob, which is one of the big, it's a huge climb, but it's worth it. It's the big vista. While we were up there, there's a tourist bus shows up for people to look at it, so that's the advantage around the 100K, but the 50Kers, you really don't see them, even the front runners. So it's kind of nice, man. You kind of have the course to yourself as a 100Ker.
That's because they turn off, right? Like they all the way turn off. Yeah. Yep.
Correct. You never see them.
The other thing that's kind of cool about it being like 175 is the fact that you kind of sort of get a elbow and hobnob a little bit with like the badass runners. Like, I guess that's a pretty small course, right? Everyone's pretty chill. Everyone's pretty down to earth.
Man, I've been running. You guys have been my friends since I started. It's why we're all friends, right? And I hate Pennsylvania trail running. And all of my races are in Pennsylvania. It is what a group of people. And I'm just saying that, man. Like it reminds me a lot of the Possums, guys. I'm not just saying that. It's you feel like an outsider when you're there because you see how close they are.
Yeah.
And it reminds me of when we're at Forget the PR and back here at Canal or whatever. Man, what a group of people. But yeah, like it's so chill there. It's everybody. It's just us, man. Like it's a bunch of like-minded folks out there, all ready to be miserable. Everybody knows what it's all about out there. It's just a great group of people. But and the front runners, man, are just you can't pick them out of the crowd if that makes sense, right? Like it's just an awesome group of people, man. I can't say enough. And the race directors are just, dude, they're awesome. They're fun. They know this course is a monster, and they tell you about it in a funny way. I obviously Pete came out and crewed me. And he's like, man, that race director, I feel like he could have been more positive. I'm like, why, dude? This course sucks. And he's telling me it sucks. So, he's very honest. Like, well, you're going to hate me at this point, and this climb sucks, and this is going to be miserable. And it's like, Pete, he's right. Everything he said is a fact. He's not BNS anybody. So,
well, on the point of the on talking about the front runners and the elites, what are our winning times looking like, Jamie?
Well, so the first place overall, first place male, Trevor Fee.
I got to run with one of his buddies, which was, I feel like that's how I'm adjacent know the guy that won the race because I ran a few miles with one of his buddies.
You guys will probably exchange Christmas gifts now.
You know what's cool? He was bib 101, I'm bib 100, like the guy I ran with. That's how we became buddies. And he said his buddy Trevor was out there to win it. And it was so cool to hear that dude won it. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
11 hours and 39 minutes.
I don't even, dude, my brain doesn't even understand it. I don't even know how it's possible.
Dude, all that mud and technical. That's impressive. Second place overall, second place male was 12 hours and 5 minutes. So, and then the next one was 12:55. So,
dude, the fall off from first to third is, like the fall off from second to third
hour
is
and 20 minutes.
Yeah. But like the fall from first to third is nuts. Like that Trevor cat was laying it down.
When I heard that time, it's just from running this race twice, dude. Incredible. That's all I can say about this guy. Anybody, honest to God, man, I'll say because I've done it. Just finishing a race is something to be said, but these times are just mind numbing, man. Like 11:40.
And first place female was Mackenzie Nolan, and 13 hours and 50 minutes.
It's crushing it, man.
And second place female Karen Dunn in 14 hours flat. So 14 hours and 40 seconds. So congrats to those finishers. And also, so it's a 19-hour cutoff for the Western States qualifier.
It's 19-hour cutoff, everything.
The race is 19 hours.
19 hours, okay. Yeah. It's a hard stop at 19, man.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So you have to finish within the race cutoff in order to get the qualifier.
Yep.
Okay.
And I gotta love David Thoreau and Ken Mazur, the guys or Ben Mazur, the directors. 1901. Sorry, you're not. I actually ran with a guy at Heiner that finished in 1901, and I remember telling Johnny about it after Heiner, and the dude was awesome. I was like, that guy was one of us. He's like, hey man, there's rules for a reason. I finished in 1901.
So it's not like another race down in Tennessee where there may have been some rolling clock on him.
No rolling clock here, man. No rolling clock.
Like that time is and so we don't want to bury the lead too much, right? Like, what was your time, Chad?
I was 16:55 this year.
Nice, very solid, very solid.
Sub 17 on that course, very commendable.
So, and you guys know what I did last time. You guys have been listening to my tale of woe for 5 years. 18:41 was my time in 2019. So, as much as that's, I feel like I got a little piece of my soul back. I still had a shit day, miserable the entire time. But I'll take about an hour 45 PR off that course all day long.
Yeah,
and take it and run. And there's a picture of me giving the middle finger to the sign at the end because I'm never going back, man. That's
you'll never
not enough.
So are we officially for real saying we'll never go back and run that race again?
Absolutely not. Never. No. So. And Johnny, you know this. I don't like to repeat races anyways.
The
only race I repeat, obviously, forget the PR, which we all know why. No Business I did twice because you get that double buckle for finishing 100 twice in opposite directions. And then this bastard ended my running in 2019. That's if get into that story. I mean, when I ran this in 2019, it was my qualifier. I wanted to do like a really tough 100K, blah, blah, blah. And dude, it destroyed me. I ended up having a great 2019 after that because all I did was crew and pace everybody all season and drank too much beer and had a great time. But it was definitely my last race in 19. And I said I would never go back because it just stole my soul. And but here comes the PA Triple Crown that I've been itching. And this bastard was stuck in the middle of that Triple Crown, so it had to be done again, man.
And we've talked about this a ton. I've said this on this podcast in the past, and I heard it from you, and you heard it from other people who's done them both. You've knocked out the hardest race of the Triple Crown.
So
that's the word on the street.
I know we got to pump the brakes on that. We're gonna pump the brakes on that because that conversation, man. If you talk to PA trail runners. Brother, that is a conversation on the trail that gets real weird and real heated. And there's both sides. I mean, I I met a ton of folks that have completed Triple Crown. And, we did that trail math. I told you what we learned at Heiner. Yeah. The guy told me, it's like, hey, man, let's say you do World's End in 18 hours. You've got 18 hours to do 40 more miles. And you're like, God damn, man, that trail math works. That math, dude.
That math.
But then you talk to a lot of Eastern States finishers, and they kind of give you the like, dude, it's 100 miles in Eastern States. Like, it's a nightmare. It's hard. Yes, World's End is incredibly difficult, but Eastern States is Eastern States, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going in it mind-wise. Hell yeah, dude. Eastern States is easier.
Yeah. Right. It's no cupcake.
I did hear through the grapevine that maybe nutrition could have been a little better for us this year.
I shit the bed. And that's all on me. So to unpack, to just get it out in the open, 2 factors ruined my day, and they were both my fault. I will say once again, before I get going, that race is incredible. The race directors are incredible. The aid stations are incredible. Dude, do this race. Anybody listening, run this race. The PA backlands or whatever you want to call it, or I don't know, we run by like 20 waterfalls and it's gorgeous, but it's a miserable suckhole of mud and misery and climbs and everything. But I went in there, 2 bad things. The first thing is my nutrition was bad for the first time in years. I don't know why. I got tired of tailwind by like mile 6. I wasn't eating. It was like you were at Mo for my first Mohican. Pete's handed me potatoes, like, get it away from me. I was like a kindergartner, dude. I ate watermelon and orange slices. Like, hey, that's worthless. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's all I could stomach. And I wasn't drinking my tailwind like I should. I was lying to Pete half the time. He's like, you eat? I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm eating. I wasn't eating shit. I was eating nothing.
There's a bunch of fat ass raccoons out there right now.
Oh, dude. I launched a lot of potatoes into the woods. That's for sure. But the main thing that made for the day was my mental state. And man, I was a lunatic about this race. You know this, Johnny. Jamie, we've talked a little bit. I've been wearing this race heavy on my shoulders for forever. And not only since 19, but then since I signed up for this Triple Crown, this was the one that I had to get through. This was the one that I knew was going to suck because I had one of the worst days ever on the trail at this race. So to be honest with you, man, I was just too ate up with this race, man. I let it consume me. I put too much pressure on myself. And I tell you the worst part about it, I talked to Jamie about this. I remember looking at my watch at 10.31 miles and said, I can't wait till I'm done. Man, that's 2 hours into a 16-hour day, dude. And I was just like, I knew it, like my heart sunk when I felt that way.
Yeah.
And I was like, God damn it, this is gonna be a long day, man. This is gonna be a beater. Cause I was just in a wrong mindset, dude. Yeah. And we all know how much that matters. Yeah. And that really, between nutrition and my mindset, really hindered my day. And it made it, unfortunately, I just didn't have fun. And that's on me. That's not on the race, man. That is entirely my fault. But we got her done. And I still tried to show some love. I still had a good time talking. I wasn't the asshole that I wasn't talking about. I was still having fun at the aid stations with the volunteers like I always do and meeting tons of cool people out on the trail. But Pete took the brunt of my hate. And also when there wasn't anybody around, I told that race to go F itself more times than I could count. So
you did look really nice though with those trekking poles. Homie, you look like Speedy McSpeed.
All right. Are we having this conversation? So
they work, don't they?
They're my first timer. Man, damn. Yeah. What a game changer for big races, right? I found, if nothing else, man, it's a placebo effect. If that's how I want to put it, is those long climbs, man. And instead of hands on knees, which I've been doing for for years. You just keep pushing those poles ahead. And
yeah.
I don't know if it gave me any more time, but mentally I was like, thank God I'm using these poles. Now, I'm not used to, you guys know that. I've never used poles, never used a pacer, but man, those poles, they are now officially a part of the arsenal, man.
Yeah.
It's not placebo. It's not placebo. And you know how I know this? Go do a tough climb and go halfway up with poles and then put your poles away.
Sure.
And
it was incredible, man.
I did Fat Dog. I used poles at Fat Dog. And I don't think some of these races, it's pretty necessary.
If I had any complaints, is running in PA, and for the folks listening that run in PA, it's rocks, man. Like that's what it's Rocksylvania, right? What they call it. And that pole banging on rocks and getting stuck between rocks.
Oh, that's annoying.
Yes.
I got a short fuse as it is when I'm 40 miles deep, so it's like I had enough of that.
I have a mental picture. I have a mental picture of Chaz trying to whack down a tree at the pole.
Oh, dude. I've got to launch those bastards a couple times. They get stuck between a rock and I'd bend me backwards. Oh, God.
Now at Bear, I used poles for the first 19 miles, and then I was just sick of them. I'm like,
really? Yeah.
Take my crew, take these poles. I don't want them.
So I have never given up poles.
Go ahead.
I've never given up poles. You will pry these out of my cold dead hands. I'm the whole race.
So I used them. I'll bet you I used them for 45 to 50 miles, or at least had them out. So it's first time with me. I bought the Leckies because that's what Pete and my coach Aaron Saft suggested, and I bought that Solomon quiver for my pack. Damn, they're so easy in and out and so easy to deal with, man. They're just not cumbersome like I expected. They're just really easy to use. And I mean, it's a nice addition to the repertoire of when we're into these dumb mountain races and stuff like that. So
speaking of next races, I'm going to jump over to go over the enigma that is this year.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about Mohican 100.
So many questions.
Mohican 100, one of the oldest 100-milers in the country.
7, right?
Seventh oldest. Yep.
Seventh oldest. Amazing.
Yep. Almost in the last great race, which is the first 6, but
yeah.
Loudonville, Ohio, Mohican. Everybody's heard us talk about Mohican a million times on the podcast.
Because it's awesome.
That's right. The trail running gem of Ohio. And I actually didn't know that it was moved this early. It's moved it was Father's Day weekend forever. And then I know in COVID it changed, and then after that it's now it's Memorial Week or the weekend after Memorial.
Yeah. First weekend of June now.
And this matters.
Dude.
This makes it even more weird. This makes it even more weird. How? Because when it used to be Father's Day weekend,
hot.
Yo, you could trip that thing and you get underneath that canopy and it'd be a pressure cooker. It'd be hot, humid, and then it was funny because you're like, oh God, I hope it rains this year. No, you don't, because when it does rain, it's all the way dark.
Hurricane rain.
Yeah, my first year I ran it. It rained 18 straight hours.
Yep.
My first year, Pete's year, he ran it. It rained it rained
all night.
Johnny,
and so
I think the year you're talking about, Ron and I were doing the 50-miler, and we ran the whole 50-miler together, and it rained literally 9 or 10 hours straight. I've never experienced that kind of rain. It was crazy.
Can I jump in on the heat? Oh, go ahead, Johnny.
Oh, yeah. No, I would say that year I've never chafed ever.
Yeah, that's where I was going.
In anything I've ever done. My back in my early 20s when I was doing stupid stuff, all the way up to running Tahoe. I shit you not, I chafed more in that year at Mo 100 than I did anything else I've ever done in my life. The chafing, the stuff my wife had to see and put Desitin on was mind-bending.
So that's where
just mind-bending.
that's why I want to talk about the heat. So we had the rain. It's always raining.
Yeah.
And then the year I ran it, it was the heat. And Pete and I talked about it, obviously, this weekend. Is he ran the 50 back in 18 when I ran the 100. And he's like, thank God I only ran a 50 because it got up in the mid-90s for you guys.
Yeah.
And I remember when I came into after the second loop and you guys took my shirt off to change shirts, and everybody goes, oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
I was like, what? What's wrong? And they're like, nothing, man.
You were wearing that waist pack shaved.
Oh, dude, I was just like
so bad,
bloody and disgusting and terrible. But that's to go along with the heat. That's what made Mohican.
Yeah,
Mohican is a challenging course, but doable, right?
Yeah.
The heat is the what I'll show you, right?
Yeah.
And now, and that's what Pete and I talked about all weekend. We saw the weather forecast. We're like, what? It's not the same race, man. It's not the same race.
The only thing I can think of is that it got to like high 70s to mid 80s, right? Kind of in that kind of area.
But not humid either.
But not humid. But not super humid. And so the only thing I can kind of like wrap my head around is that they got just a smidge warm. They got just a smidge warm. And then it did rain that night. And so I like, listen, we've all ran and rain. Like they got a little bit of rain.
Yeah.
And I think it rained on and off all night long. So I don't know if that just got people cold and it psychologically broke them. I don't know. It doesn't make sense.
And what we're talking about for everybody.
Yeah. Well, buried the lead again.
The finisher rate at Mohican was less than 50%.
Unbelievable.
I think bonkers. I texted you earlier, Johnny. I counted them up: 86 finishers, 104 DNFs.
And that's a low field too. That's a short field too, man. Right?
And this, and it's a 32-hour cutoff, which I think is pretty generous. For Mohican.
It's because that's your Mo's always been a little long too. Like Mo is anywhere from 102. I've heard some people's watches come in at 106. It's in that heavy 100 range.
Yeah.
But still, it's what 16,000. Is it 16, 13? What is it? Feet of climb?
I got it over 13.
13.
Yeah, 13.
Yeah. So all right, 13 feet of climb. It is a weird 13 feet of climb where
13,000 feet.
Yeah, it is a weird 13,000 feet of climb that it's like this like odd relentlessness of like
rollers
and like semi steep, and then like you're off from it, and then you're right back onto the next one. So it does have this like never stopping. All of that aside, I think this race usually has a finish rate in the upper 60s, lower 70s.
That's what I thought. I mean,
that sounds about right.
I just don't like it. Like, I need someone who ran Mo this year to reach out and be like, this is what it was. I mean,
let us know.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about it next week.
Like, I gotta know. Did the aid station run out of food? But I've talked to two different people. Both were going for the 50. I've talked to two different people, and they're like, aid stations are fine. There really wasn't anything wrong. It was just, and I'm like, then why? Now, it is kind of cool because on the thingamabobby that you have up, the website you have up right now, Jamie, you can kind of see when people started DNF because it has all the aid stations and the times they came at the respective aid stations. So you can kind of blur out and see where the DNFs begin to kind of trickle in. But,
man, throwing the DNFs on Front Street, real nice, Johnny. Just give them hell right there. That's.
I mean, damn.
Let me. It's looking like Hickory 3, dude.
Well, and that's a tough spot, dude. That's
Fire
Tower.
That's the
third loop, Fire Tower, third loop, Hickory Ridge. Man, those are dig deep and mentally like get out of there type aid stations, right?
And then the funny thing about Hickory Ridge,
dude, they're all at that one. Like not all, but most.
At the third loop of Hickory Ridge.
It's wild.
It's pretty spread out, actually.
So third loop of Hickory Ridge. I mean, it's kind of funny because what's kind of funny is I could hear the aid station workers like, listen, you have a net downhill. You have a net downhill back. Just shut up and move forward. Just lean into it. You're moving downhill.
Drop at the start finish.
Yeah.
Now,
what is funny is yes, it's net downhill, but it is a pain in the ass net downhill with mountain bike rock courses.
Then you got the rock garden there at the end. Oh,
yeah. You're just cussing the entire.
I hate that mountain bike trail downhill.
I do too, man.
It's
terrible.
It just goes forever.
And that downhill Johnny's talking about is that 2 miles just past the aid station. After that 2 miles, it sucks.
It's funny because you leave Hickory Ridge and you're on that
that's nice.
And you're like, wee.
I like that part.
And then it's a right and it's a left. You're like into Suck City. You're like,
and then it sucks.
Effing BS. Come on. So I mean, all right. So okay, we had DNFs. I got Harrison. We had a ton of DNFs this year. This sounds crazy to say this as a middle of the pack, the back of the packer. The winning time wasn't even. It's not like the winning time was blistering.
So Pete and I, when we got back into cell phone coverage, because World's End is in U0, right? You're out of the world. When we first pulled this up, we figured it hadn't updated correctly. Honest to God. Like, I'm not exaggerating. We're like, dude, how's your only 85 finisher? Must not be done yet. And then we saw the times. We're like, dude, is this all right? Like, these times, I'm not. These guys are incredible athletes. These guys are winning this race, but these are slower than usual, right? Like, what did we miss this year? Like, what are we missing?
By hours, I believe.
So first place male was James Solomon, 19 hours and 27 minutes and 2 seconds. It must have been a sprint. It must have been a sprint to the finish because Chad Trumbo came in second, 19 hours, 27 minutes, and 4 seconds. Less than
2 seconds.
2 seconds.
Yeah.
It had to be a sprint around that grass field.
Yeah. And by the way, because you still go under that bridge, right? You still go under and pop up, right? That's a dope ass finish to try to watch. Like, who? Because essentially, it's whoever gets that bridge first is probably going to win.
Because you see him across the creek there.
Yeah.
Right.
Because whoever goes underneath that first is probably going to win. Because once you pop up underneath that, it's still more to go. But you've got that positioning now. I wonder if I wonder if Trumbo and this guy know each other. And Trumbo is like, I doubt it. The dude's from Illinois, so I don't know. I didn't know Chad was that old. Yeah, I didn't know Chad was that old either. That old. He's 41. I mean, like,
Chad. So Chad just, he just did Cocodona and dropped out at Cocodona, but I'm sure that was a good training run for Mohican. Anyway.
Well, he also won a race. He won a desert race here this year also, and I can't remember which one. So it looks like he's been doing a lot of racing out west, man.
Yeah, I kind of wonder if he, chicken or the egg. I wonder if stuff went sideways. He didn't get the result he wanted at Coco, and so he's like, "F it, I'm trained up. I'm going to burn someone's ass."
Well, that makes sense because he dropped around, I think 40 or 60. It was 60 at Cocodona, right?
Yeah, he had.
I talked to Jay Smithberger when Jay was out here on vacation. He was crewing Chad at Cocodona, and he said it just wasn't his day, bad day. So it was around 50, 55, something like that.
But all right, so back to like our winning times: 1927 first, 1927 second. That's like the winner of Mo is usually, I want to say high 16s, low 17s.
Yes.
Pete and I both said 17s. Like we're
17s,
17 usually take that race.
Yeah.
So,
actually, let's wonder what it is.
I
don't think they're on Ultra sign up.
I don't think they are either. So your third place guy was a guy named James Hanks. He's from out in Colorado. So again, like there's just nothing that makes sense. the dude's from Colorado. You would think that he's up and down these rollers like they're like nothing, but even he took third, and he came across in 1943, so he wasn't even in sniffing distance.
No,
you know,
dude, he's a loop. He's 2 stations behind those guys, man.
Yeah, I mean, like,
so in 1999, the old course, Courtney Campbell, 15 hours 11 minutes.
Dude, that's
in 2021, the current course, Arlen Glick, 15 hours.
15
hours 22 minutes.
Oh, by the way, there's this like semi, like you may or may not know the name. There's this like this Mennonite cat that goes around and just dominates shit. Arlen Glick. Of course, 15 some hours.
So the old course had 10 miles out of dirt road and 10 miles back of dirt road. So I'm guessing it was much more runnable, but
but Arlen ran this course.
Yes,
Arlen ran the current course 15:22. So
so actually, you bring up an interesting point. When we say this course, we're talking the 4 loop.
Yep.
But the 4 loop that the three of us know is not the 4 loop that they do now.
No,
because we all know and hold near and dear to our hearts the
route climb.
Yeah, the route climb and the
Enchanted Valley. Yeah.
And the state park came in and said, "Hey, listen, we'll let you keep doing it one time, but that's it." And I found out through a connection that if Mo ever leaves the state park, if they ever leave the state park and try to come back in, they will lose the enchanted. They'll lose their route climb. So they have to stay in the park and they have to keep doing it. If they ever not do it, they lose it from there on out because the state park really doesn't want anyone back there. So there's that. The other difference in the course, and I heard it's like shockingly, like it's like, oh shit, that's actually kind of tough. And it's something that Campbell loves to do, Chaz, is, you know, when you are on the backside of Big Ass Hill and you loop back around, you know how you used to go right up Gasline Power?
Sure.
You used to go right. Okay. You don't do that anymore. You go out around that rock garden that's out there.
Oh, on the actual mountain bike part? The mountain bike course?
On the mountain bike all the way around.
Oh, okay.
And then you double all the way back around. Then you go to the gorge, and then you double all the way back down. And up
that is new.
And so that's pretty new. And like that adds some distance, but then you save distance because again, you're not doing the route climb. You're doing that stinking ass goat trail.
But they're still doing route climb on loop 1, though, right?
Loop
the
1,
100-milers are allowed to do the route climb on loop 1.
Yep. And so I don't know if the course is a little bit longer now because of that. Again, like even more distance added. But I have heard that back by that rock garden, there are a couple good little climbs back there. And as we all know, it's obviously longer because you're going, you know what I mean? So it still doesn't equal this DNF drop rate in this like time. No. Like it's insane.
You know, one person that will probably be able to tell us maybe is Don Bond.
I was just thinking
Don watches the YouTube channel. Don, if you're watching, let us know, man. Why is there so many DNFs this year? Okay, comment.
Let us in on the secret.
Can I tell a Don Bomb story just real quick? That's what made my movie.
Yeah.
So I barely know Don. I know Don because he's Don, right? And he probably knows me in passing because I forget the PR stuff. But that made my Mohican 100 experience was when you got to the Enchanted Valley there, he was like the gatekeeper. And he saw my bib and he goes, Baz, you get to go do the route climb. And dude, it like puts a smile on your face that a dude like Don Baum was like, you may enter. And you like go in. It was just awesome, dude. It was
the Mohican gatekeeper.
One of the coolest parts of my day.
That's awesome. That race. Yeah, he's a legend.
He's awesome.
And before we move off of Mo, I do want to give a shout out to the women's first place finisher, Brenda Johnson. And she finished in 21 hours and 16 minutes.
Awesome. Well done.
All right. Anything else on Mo before we move on, guys?
Let's talk about this. Let's get this. Here we go.
The next race?
Yeah.
Okay, we're going into Damn Yeti.
Oh, that's right. I still got a little bit of seconds before I have to.
What do you think we were doing?
Talk about it so bad.
I thought the whale was coming up. I'm like, golly, I am so jealous, man.
Let's do it. Let's go into the whale.
No, hold it off. It's cool. Let's talk about Damn Yeti. Damn Yeti. Yeah.
Yeah. So Damn Yeti is a Yeti race, and Virginia Creeper Trail.
Awesome.
I was reading this race description, and it's like 9.8 miles of downhill to the first aid station.
True. Yep.
Effortless miles. Some of the best views. Some of the best views of the national forest.
It's beautiful.
Then from Taylor's Valley, you continue downhill for another 6.9 miles to Damascus, and Damascus, you will travel to the town of Alvarado, where the aid station is located. From Alvarado, you continue to Abingdon Station, which marks the end of the Virginia Creeper Trail. 55K runners will turn right and finish at Wolf Hills Brewery. 50-mile runners turn around and go to Abingdon Aid Station. Okay, so like, if you're a 50-mile runner, how can you not be tempted? Like, brewery?
You can totally stop and have one, though. Totally stop.
Brewery or
yeah. So if you don't mind, I'll jump in on this conversation because I had the chance to go down and crew Yeti.
Please,
for Pete.
Tell us.
And man, Yeti races are as advertised. Jason Green, the race director for these races, he's the dude. He's awesome. But man, Damascus, Virginia is a hidden gem. What a town. What a place to go run. I got to run the Iron Mountain 50 down there 2 years ago, which is on top of, like, it's on one of the ridges overlooking the Creeper Trail. But that description, you start that White Top Mountain, dude, and it's just downhill, baby. Whee!
Is it
gorgeous
like
trail?
It's just like a gravel.
It's a rails to trails. They have a huge rails to trail system down there.
Yeah.
And I've even want to take my wife and kids because you can rent bikes. They will literally drive you to the top of White Top Mountain, drop you off, and you can just ride your bike down it without even pedaling, man. Just nice and easy, going over, I don't know how many train trestle bridges. But man, that area, if you have an opportunity to go to Damascus, Virginia, either run a race or just go down there and hang out, do it. Can I throw a shout out to a race real quick that it's called the Iron Mountain 50. It costs $30, dude. It's $30. It's a guy, and I can't remember his name, the race director. Look it up on Ultra Sign Up. It's called the Iron Mountain Trail Runs. They do a 8-mile. I don't know. It doesn't matter. I did the 50. Hell of a race. You run the race. At the end, you get a baked good. Like the people of the town make cookies and cakes, and that's your finisher award.
And that's in Damascus,
everybody. That's like
so.
Is that Damascus?
Yeah,
Damascus is like the hub of the Appalachian Trail, right? Like that's where they do the trail days where in the summer and all.
And that's where the Yeti 100 starts, right? And there's some other races down there, but it's just a cool place, man. And I've never ran the Damn Yeti, but it's that trail. The people down there are outstanding. It's just a cool place, man. And
Jason Green, like you said, he's awesome. So let's see here. We got some finishers. The Damn Yeti 50. Oh, they had a 50-mile race too. Yeah, 50-mile race and 55K. Shannon Howell won for the women in the 50-mile event, 7 hours, 15 minutes.
That's crazy.
It was third overall. And in the men's race, David Compton brought home the win, 6 hours and 32 minutes.
Jesus, dude.
And then in the 55K, Lee Jarvis ran the third fastest course time, 3 hours, 54 minutes. And Amy Watson set a new course record in first place for the women in 4 hours and 17 minutes.
That's awesome.
So cool.
Awesome.
Wait, hold on. Wait. I just thought of something. This is the same course. This course is also on the crushed limestone, right?
Yeah.
That's where Yeti 100.
It's the Yeti 100. Yeah.
Dude, how in the F did Costume Chick fall on that course and tear her knee up?
Well, that's a good question. Charlotte, tell us.
So, man, when I crewed Pete at Yeti, people fall. That's real talk right there, folks who not watching YouTube. People take a beating on that course because it's that black railroad crushed whatever.
Yeah,
dude, it is. Yeah. People fall on the reg
Chip seal,
race, man, and just it destroys you.
On what? I mean, it's so. Is it crushed limestone or is it the cinder?
It's that cinder. It's that black railroad cinder, man. But it's crushed. Like it's fine.
What are you tripping on?
Everybody's dude. People were bleeding everywhere during the Yeti 100, bud.
So dude, those people would die. Those people would die if they tried to run in PA or at Mo.
PA would kill somebody.
They would come out and like their legs would be like, like all.
I'm sure Charlotte will let us know how she tripped.
Dude,
but
what the
costume chick dressed up like Fireball. I think Johnny responded to her message. Did you drink too much Fireball or something?
That's insane.
She did fall and scraped her knees up pretty bad. I had to go to the emergency room. So,
dude, just because you got to get that cleaned out. That stuff is that's just embedded in your skin and tissue, man. That stuff is a nightmare.
Yeah.
And so this high school that I went to, we had a cinder track. And for all the dipshits that thought they could run hurdles that would try to jump the hurdles and hit, if you left those things in, they'd leave like little itty bitty little bumps. It's so cool.
Awful.
Here we go. The white elephant, baby.
We're moving on to Johnny's white whale.
White whale, white elephant. Got my mind on Christmas, evidently.
Yeah. Halfway there, almost. So Old Dominion won the second oldest 100-mile race in the country. The oldest continuous race in the country, because Western states, like the second year or whatever, they didn't have it or something, and that's when Old Dominion started. So, but anyway, John Kelly, everybody know, we talk about John Kelly a lot on this podcast. Multi-time Barkley finisher. He spine. He holds the FKT on the spine, or the Pennine Way in England. He's won the spine race. I mean, he's just an absolute beast of a runner, and he's laid down a super fast time at Old Dominion, 15 hours and 44 minutes.
Jesus. It's so stupid. That is so stupid.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, and he was first place by the second place was 16 hours and 56 minutes.
Yeah, dude.
Hour and 12 minutes.
And here's what's wild. Because the way that course is laid out, he beat him by an hour and 12 minutes. That means that the dude he beat by an hour and 12 minutes was still back up in the valley. Like, that person didn't even make it out of the valley yet, and that dude is doing his victory lap around the horse track. Like that, it's insane. Like an hour and 12 at Old Dominion is like insanely forever, because there's such a long stretch on that last part on road.
Yeah, like Butch Slavic was second place, and then let's see, first place for the female was Steph Hill in 20 hours 11 minutes. So I will say that we've talked about Old Dominion a lot in the last couple episodes. And I'm definitely intrigued, and I found a video. I was looking at YouTube, like try to find a good video to get a good idea of the course. I sent it to Johnny. He said, "Yeah, that's pretty much it."
And so I am curious, what year did that guy make that video?
I think it was. That's a good question. I'll have to look it up, but I think it was in the last couple of years.
Okay. And here's why I ask, because he references, it's not as hot this year versus the other year. And so I was just trying to figure out like if he and I overlapped or what. But there are parts of that video that you're watching and you're just like, yeah, man. Like there's a section where he's talking about being on the trail and he's like, oh, it's really rocky. And like where he's at, like that little he's just on his little bump out, and it's like you're on that section trail for, I don't know, 2 miles tops. It is stupid. It is like this is, and then there's the other section where he's talking about, all right, I'm climbing up to the highest point, and that climb, the climb where he's talking about heading up to the highest point, Chaz, is when you come into Four Corners the first time, and then you leave, right? And you run this nice little single track, and it's all fun in the sun on this first little stretch of single track.
Was Four Corners the first place we saw you?
No. Four Corners is where I came in. You're like, yo, shit has changed.
Oh, right around the marathon mark.
Four Corners is just shy of a 50K. Yeah,
that's about marathon. I remember it now. Yeah.
And you come in there, and like it's all road, it's all open, and you come in there, and you're like, okay. You do this little hill, and you drop in a single track. And at first, the single track is just kind of rolling. You cross this little creek, and it proceeds to straight climb for like 2+ miles. And when he was on that, in that video, Jamie, if you watch it, when he's on that, you can see it's full on sun. Like it is just cooking that dude. Like I would love to be able to go back and get a finish at that stupid race. I just want to be able to go back and I don't even want the buckle. I mean, don't get me wrong, I want the buckle, but I would love to go back and just get a sub 28 at that effing place.
So, yeah. And yeah, I guess I just need a better breakdown of like how much like smooth road is versus technical trails.
Smooth road is like 80+% of it. Like 80 to 85% of it, maybe even close to 90% of it is smooth trail. But
like that's what I'm talking about right there. Like you give me that dude, road, that type of road.
It is that
I might have a shot.
it is what that video right there is what it is for about 80+ miles of it. The bad thing is when you're on trail, it is jump up and grab you by the kahuna trail. Like it is, it gets you and it gets you now kind of trail.
Yeah. I've never seen somebody go from okay to not okay in
so
10
fast.
miles before.
Yeah. It just, but I mean, this is it.
Man.
The road you're looking at right now is what it is.
Yeah.
I do. I love that race. It's kind of funny because Pete Chaz was talking about the race director out at whatchamacallit. He could have been a little bit friendlier.
Oh, we've heard about Old Dominions. Yes.
It's kind of funny because like the Old Dominion RD is kind of the same way. You're like, that guy's kind of to the point. And yeah, he is. Look at that full on sun though.
Yeah. That could be hot. Yeah. Humid. Virginia humidity.
Yeah.
It was hot. When Johnny ran it, it was hot. It was hot.
That race jumped off and kicked off in my ass that year, boy.
You got it, and that's 28 hours, correct? On the finish on that one?
You only have 28 hours. Yep.
Yeah, 28 hours.
Oh, and this video was from a year ago, so.
So that is the year I did.
That's your last year, yeah. Was that last year?
Oh wait, was that 2 years ago?
We were there in 22, right?
2 years ago.
No, we were there in 23. Wait. Yeah, no, we were there in 23.
You were.
No, we did Black Canyon last year. This was 22.
Yeah.
Black Canyon was the training run for this.
Yeah.
It was?
I think so.
We run a lot of dumb races.
No,
you had me second guess myself now.
I think this is from 2022, this video. He must have released it a year ago.
That makes me feel a lot better because and at one point when that video, he says, yeah, it's not as hot this year. I immediately felt really shitty about myself because I'm like, what the fuck? It was hot as balls last year. What? Yeah. I'm like, damn it, man.
Speaking of, or do you have anything else about Old Dominion?
No, other than I'm just fucking hella jelly of fucking John Kelly, man. Golly days, that'd be awesome.
Hey, that's how Johnny got to the end.
John Kelly is awesome.
They just showed a truck. Dude, can I tell the story, Johnny? Let me tell the story. So Pete and I are pissed because he's done. We know he's done. And we're pissed because the day's over. Like, we're pissed. And here comes Rutherford in a car with randos that are dropping him off at an aid station that is all the way packed up and had enough of his bullshit. Like, we are the last people on the course, pretty much. And he just gets out of a car, and I end up driving him and some dude from England. Where was that dude from?
Oh, the Isles, like Ireland, England, Scotland. One of
the weirdest finish, weirdest DNF. Like, and everybody's in like a good mood except for me and Pete. We're pissed because he DNF'd, and we're super.
Hold on, I didn't come down in a car. No.
You were okay. You were shuffling next to the car, talking to them. They were like pacing you to make sure that you got to the end, right? Yes, that's how that goes down. Anyways, what a shit show!
Oh, dude, that was hilarious. Bad, man. That was bad. Oh, God, that was a bad day. That race absolutely wrecked me that year for some reason. I know why, but I mean,
we know why.
Yeah.
We've talked about this enough. We know why.
But look, I'm telling you right there, he is on, like, look how long, it is straight back down that effing thing. He is still on that section trail trying to get up that son of a bitch. Oh, I want to keep pointing out, there ain't a lick of shade on that motherfucker. Like, you are cooking going up that thing.
Yeah, that could be hot.
And it could be. Because you hit that at, like, late morning. You hit that right at late morning, too.
Right when the sun's blazing right on your back.
and the way it faces it's on your back. Like, you
Great
can just
buckle.
feel it. What a cool buckle.
Great buckle.
Yeah. That's the thing. I don't want.
We've all got that one.
I wouldn't want to settle for the gym bag. I mean, if I do it, I'm gonna go everything I have for 24
for the 24
hours.
So hey, real quick, man, this just made me think of it. This is a hell of a weekend for good buckles, man, because the Mo buckle, Pete and I had this conversation on our way back.
Yeah.
Because we get a buckle for World's End, which, whatever, it's fine. It's $100K, whatever. But, man, the Mohican buckle is an all-timer. And this Old Dominion one's a pretty badass buckle, too. So you look at we were talking about, like, the original 100 races buckles states, like the Leadville buckle's incredible. Mo's, like, it's a good buckle weekend for folks, man.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Harpston is.
Yep. So speaking of heat,
dude,
Aravaipa had this race called the Hotfoot Hampster, and they I think it's one of these it's a timed event around a loop or something. I don't really know too many details, but Nick Coury, or maybe I think it's a 3-mile trail or something, I can't remember, but Nick Coury laid down a 5-hour, 59-minute, 50.6 miles.
God, dude, that's not even real.
in 105 degree heat.
Dude, it's not even.
And it is a dry heat, but.
Oh, no, it's hot. 105, dude. It's hot.
Yeah. Stick your head in the oven. It's dry, too.
Yeah,
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
But, yeah, just insane. And, the second place overall, first place female was Kristen Mullins, who laid down 41.3 miles in 6 hours. So
incredible.
That does not make sense to me.
Also, shout out to AJW after 2 hip replacements. He got 8th overall, 5th place male, and he put down 50 miles in the 12-hour event. In 10 hours and 58 minutes.
Ooh, can I tie something all together?
Yeah, hell yeah. Bring it.
Do you know where AJW's 1 DNF is?
World's End. We talked about it in the last episode.
World's End, man. Yeah. Which is bonkers to me. Like
his only DNF.
Yeah, it's wild.
That says a lot about that
But
race.
even the race director brought that up because they talk, and he was like, dude, you got to get back here and get this race.
Well, and he went on to finish Bigfoot, or not Bigfoot.
No, he had a big one that year.
Bighorn.
Yeah, that's it.
He went on to finish Bighorn after World's End. After he DNF'd World's End, he went and finished Bighorn, which is
what did he say? He had over 200 finishes before that, and then got that. Or 197, 200, some insane gross number, man.
So why did he DNF that race? Like, what was it? Has it ever come out? Like, what it was?
That was during his hip problems. I don't know all the facts. If that was pre or post hip surgery, I don't know that. I don't want to speak to.
He talks about it. He talks about it at length on one of the podcasts. I can't remember. I think it's Trail Runner Nation. It might have been Adventure Jogger, but he does talk about it at length. And I was like, whenever I listened to it was right after he DNF'd, so I don't really remember the details. But just not his day. Like,
that dude can still throw it down though. Obviously, look at that, man. That is awesome. That is awesome.
Yeah, there's actually a picture of him. I don't know. Oh, I don't know where it's at. There was a picture of him out there, but anyways, first place in the 12-hour was Joshua Locke, 69.3 miles, and for the women it was Sierra DeGoff at 68.7 miles. There was a 24-hour event too. Bryce Carlson, 23-hour or 98.2 miles, and first place female, 90.1 miles for Julesha Jones.
In 105-degree weather.
Yeah. What's kind of funny was I was getting ready to poo-poo on that. I'm like, what? They couldn't even get like what do you
105 degrees, dude.
Yeah, I almost said something completely fucking insane. I was like, what do you mean they didn't get 100 miles in 24 hours on a flat ass course? And then I thought, oh wait, there's 105 degrees.
Yeah.
That is
and
bonkers.
Speaking of the total opposite weather, the Mozart. This is a race in Austria. 3,200 runners. It's the birthplace of Mozart. And also where they filmed Sound of Music. Strong winds, cold temperatures, heavy rain. Dylan Bowman, who you see in here, who's like one of the elites of the U.S., he finished fourth, and he said it was the toughest, most challenging weather conditions he's ever confronted in a race.
That's awesome.
Torrential rain and horrendous underfoot conditions made for a mental and physical battle for 66 miles and 16,000 feet of climbing. It was his first ultra in almost a year. He managed to finish fourth. Yeah.
You know why he finished? You know why he finished?
Why?
Lecky poles, baby.
Dude, I wish Lecky's. I'm going to complain about Lecky's. Dude, they have to be neon red. Like, can we just tone it down a bit, dude? It's like, I want matte black. I'd be fine.
I use black diamond carbon Z.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. They're like, hey, look at me, poles. Oh, brutal. Brother.
This is a UTMB. This is a UTMB event, and 65. The 100K is a little long, 65 miles. Jack Chamberlain led the men with 11-hour, 19-minute finish. Like, that's insane. 16,000 feet of climbing, 65 miles. And for the women, Fiona Pascal, 12 hours and 6 minutes. So there are some really fast international runners out there, folks. All right. So we're about 5-6 minutes away. Do we have any LASCON updates?
We got a brief LASCON update. It sounds like he was just in Show Me State still.
Yeah.
It sounds like he's still there.
What's that, Missouri? I don't even know.
Yeah.
What's the Show Me State?
Let's go. Let's go, Northwest Ohio schools. Let's go, baby. Yes, that is Missouri.
So 1,282 miles as of June 1st, 26 inches at a time, 3,077,000 steps. So, all right. Yeah. So we think he's in Missouri.
Yeah. 5 minutes left. let's bang out some spring nutrition stuff real fast and wrap it up. What do you think?
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good. We do have a couple world records that that we will highlight in the next episode, but I do just want to give a shout out to Stine Rex, who set a new women's 48-hour record over the weekend, 270.6 miles, and beat Camille Herron by 0.1 mile.
That's
Camille was
Hey,
hey, Chaz is back. He dropped off for a minute. So Chaz, we were just giving a shout out to Stine Rex. She set a new women's 48-hour record over the weekend, 270.6 miles.
Incredible.
Beat Camille Herron by 0.1 mile. Camille's record was 270.5.
That's right. That was last year, right?
Actually, it might have been this year at the at that Run Further event, Lululemon event, I think, or maybe it was last year. I'd have to look. But
here's where I get a little weird about those, like, beat a record by 0.1 and da 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 da. Is all right. So you're doing the loopy loops, right? And the way that you get to that, like that point this or point that or whatever beyond, is like if you go by the start finish line and you are 20 feet by it, the horn stops, you drop something, right? Like you drop a stick or you drop something, and that's what marks your time, right?
Yeah.
Is that it?
I don't know.
So. And then they measure. I think that's how those work. And then they measure. And then they measure from the start finish line to that, and then that is your additional for that loop.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, if you're kind of a grimy, and by the way, I don't know Stine Rex. She could be the most, like, she could be Mother Teresa for all I know.
Still knocked up 217, dude. That's a lot.
But, I mean, it's still 270. But I mean, would you be like, instead of just dropping the rock, would you be like, whoop?
Do you like Caddyshack, like
like a little forward trajectory on that? Like,
no,
I mean,
honestly,
like,
they're gonna they still have to ratify it, right? So they still have to do measurements. And you know what? There's more to the story, so we will get into it next weekend or next week on next week's show, because there was another world record that I wanted to talk about as well, but we're up against it here. We just have a few minutes left. So we do want to close the show out with a spring energy update.
I hold them accountable for my results of last year at Old Dominion and Black Canyon.
Let me tell you what, to run a race the weekend that shit came out, it was like... It might as well be the general election, dude. Like, everybody had an opinion. Everybody was on a side, and every conversation you were involved in during that 16 hours, somehow spring nutrition came up. And all I can say is, man, I'm glad I use Endurance Tab, because I didn't care. I was like, whatever, man.
I'm glad I used GU. Goo. I use
it's
Goo.
funny because, like, last week, Chaz, I was like, I have spring energy gels in a drop bag from Old Dominion.
Never used
Now listen, I'm not saying that old Johnny Boy shit the table at mile 50 of Old Dominion because of spring energy.
But you know what? Let's say you did.
Let's say
you did.
Yeah.
Let's think about that. So you think it's 180 calories.
Yeah.
And so you're taking one every hour, but it's really 75 calories.
It's amazing, dude.
Yeah.
Amazing.
You know, and then you start bonking and you're like, it can't be nutrition. I'm staying on top of it. So it's got to be something else.
And my Koros don't lie to me. When my Koros chirps at 40 minutes, I am choking one of those nasty MFers down. So, and I had empty packets to give. I'm telling you, F you, Spring Energy.
I had a place in my heart. There was a lot of people running World's End and obviously running Old Dominion this weekend and Mohican and all the races we talked about that have been training with Springs for months. And on Friday, good luck,
by the way,
asshole. Eat 2 instead of 1. Like it is.
They just have to double up.
And how much weren't those? And I don't know how much they cost.
$4,
$4, right?
$4 a pop.
So I paid almost $250 for an endurance tap, and that makes me want to puke. Like $4 for a gel. And
I know. I thought the goos that I buy are, I thought they were expensive,
right?
But they're cheap. They're cheap compared to Spring.
Yeah, you're picking your goose up, fucking Big Lots. Knock it off.
At Aldi.
Yeah.
So
the new news about
the new news is that Jason Coop, he had sent in. He's the one that had sent in that awesome sauce to get tested. He also sent in some of their other flavors to get tested, and Sage Canaday, who was one of their athletes, was
ride or die with them.
He was defending them like pretty hard, and so the Canterbury, which is Sage's namesake one, was 10 grams of carbs versus 17 on the label, and Hill Aid was 10 grams of carbs versus 20 on the label. But the one thing they do have going for them is their chocolate one was 24 grams of carbs versus 21 on the label. So they did exceed on the chocolate. But this is funny because Jason Coop put these results on his Twitter post, and then he put CC at Sage Canaday.
So petty.
Yeah. But anyway, so that's the updates. There is 2 that are. Oh, and then some people raised some money through, I don't know what, GoFundMe, to send in a bunch of other.
Because Coop said it was $1,000 a gel, like $1,000 a test.
Damn.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's $1,000 for one test.
Damn.
We shouldn't have to set up a GoFundMe to pay Coop. Fucking Spring Energy should be paying Coop and everybody else.
Spring Energy is.
Yeah.
So
we need the music like the wah wah
wah. Wah. Yeah.
They will never financially recover, as they say in the Tiger King or whatever that show is.
So they sent in some other brands to get tested too.
That's what Coop did. He sent in 4.
Yeah.
All the other brands were fine.
Yeah, everything checked out, man. So my coach actually just sent an email tonight. He must have has an update from Coop, so I'm excited to read that when we're done here. So.
Nice. All right. All right, we're already over. We have some other stuff that we'll definitely bring up next week, but I want to say thanks, Chaz, for joining us and giving us the insight on World's End, and
a big congrats to
thank you, boys.
Congrats.
Run. Great
congrats on the finish of the second leg of the Pennsylvania Triple Crown.
Yes, sir.
Second leg of the Triple Crown. Second leg of the Triple Crown Plus Blacklist,
which is called the Blacklist, and it's
is this happening?
What's that?
Is this happening?
Yeah. Okay. I may or may not already have a campsite for October at Heiner. So the backstory, folks, real quick before we get off here, is during Heiner, somebody said, "Oh, you're doing the Triple Crown. We have to do a thing called the Blacklist." I'm like, "Oh, what's that?" They're like, "Oh, it's the Black Forest 100K in October." I'm like, "Shit. Of course I have to do that now." So, so the Black Forest 100K in October is midnight start, no crew, no pacers. At Heiner, it starts at Heiner Park where Heiner 50K runs through. Let's get through Eastern States, but I may have a campsite already. I'm not signed up for the race, but I may have a campsite.
All right, okay.
Eastern States first. That's right. That's the big focus.
Yeah. And Eastern States is when?
August 10th.
Okay, August 10th.
We'll all have a time there.
I'm there.
Yeah, we've got 2 campsites set up for everybody, and it'll be a weekend as usual. So
cool.
Awesome.
Thank you guys for having me, man. This is awesome. I appreciate it.
Way to go.
All right.
All right.
I think we're all set. Go ahead and take us out.
Yep.
See you, everybody.